and welcome to the Joust. My name is Nagy. I'm here once again with the Mid-North Coast Maverick, Mr. Liam McNeil.
Nagy, it's wonderful to join you, the Port Stephens Playboy.
Yeah.
Great to be back again this week for another edition of State of Origin.
State of Origin. It's that time again. You can almost smell it. You know, you're watching the games roll through and you think, oh, this is quite exciting. The NRL's back on the television. And then you start thinking, hang on a second, something's coming up soon. Oh, what's this feeling in the air?
And why are there no good players playing?
That's right, because they've all been taken to the State of Origin. Usually it's a time where, classically, New South Wales is already counting the trophies and thinking, oh, how can we win this series? And classically, Queensland is talking about how, of course, they're the underdogs.
Yes.
But this morning, we woke up to turmoil, Liam. Absolute turmoil.
The turmoil has crossed over from the Tigers to the New South Wales Blues.
It was a shock to firstly hear. The biggest news is our very own Latrell Mitchell, a man who has never lost an Origin series. As soon as he sets foot on in a blue jersey, on a field, they win.
He's a talisman.
2018, 2019, 2021, all three of them, the only three that he's participated in, win. And then now he's out.
Yes, which is such a shame because I loved Latrell Mitchell. I think he's just fantastic.
I still do.
Especially when he's in the blue jersey. I still do, don't get me wrong. But to not have him in blue saddens me.
He's been taken out by a calf niggle. A calf niggle. He said to the boys, I'm sorry, boys, we don't feel right. But
do you think he called it off Jake Trbojevic? We discussed last week how Jake Trbojevic overfed his calf and it exploded. Do you think Latrell has taken a hint from Jake Trbojevic?
We all know the calf injuries are very contagious. So
Yes.
they should have really removed Jake Trbojevic right out of the camp early on when they realised that he had a calf injury. But now
foot and mouth disease is very, very contagious amongst calves.
So I've heard. But they put in Stephen Crichton. Now, someone pointed out to me earlier that Stephen Crichton is actually, a three-time grand finalist, a two-time premiership winning centre. Still not as good as Latrell.
Pretty good.
He was pretty good.
Pretty good, though.
I feel like there's something missing there.
Yeah.
But just when we were had that news settling on the top of our stomach, and we thought, well, how could it get any worse? It rocked again.
Now, I think just before we move on,
Yeah.
Stephen Crichton may have been tarred with a bad brush from his previous Origin experience. But what you've got to look at in his previous Origin experience is that he was not playing in his preferred centre role. He was playing that role that Brad Fittler likes, put him on the bench, and then with 10 minutes to go, to say, go in and
go do things.
Just do.
Just do.
Just be.
Be
Just
you.
go onto the field, be and do. And I think what we're going to see is Stephen Crichton much more comfortable
Yeah.
in
At
his
home.
centre position at home, perhaps.
Yeah.
Ideally, we'd have him inside Brian To'o for the club combination, obviously.
I believe that's what they're going for, as well as Nathan Cleary.
But more turmoil.
More turmoil.
Oh, no.
Just when we thought we had enough for one day, they say no. Nathan Cleary has been rocked by a tooth infection.
Yeah, I think we have an X-ray up on the screen here. Now, keep in mind, Joust, we are not dentists.
Neither of us are dentists.
We do not claim to be.
We cannot claim to be medical professionals or registered dentists.
And please do not accuse us of being so.
It only took one, sour event at Cessnock Community Hall. I could have sworn that tank was filled with other than helium, but in fact, it was totally crying children.
It was the Hindenburg all over again. But you'll see here, we believe it is an impacted molar.
Yeah, of course that is.
Impacted molar, Nagy. What does that mean? What impacted? What has it impacted upon? I don't know. I'm no dentist.
You see, the mouth is full of stuff, and when one bit hits another bit, it becomes impacted.
Right.
And then once it hits there, everything wants to move around.
Shouldn't the teeth be able to extend further into the chin?
Oh, mate.
There's a lot of room for the teeth to expand.
I've got a problem with the human body, and I'll
Yours or just in general?
In general.
Okay.
Because you just have this assumption when, you've got a set of teeth and then at about 9, they all fall out and you get new ones. But then if something happens to your new ones, you're fucked.
Tough. Yeah.
Why?
Tough titties. You lost your teeth as an adult. Good luck to you.
Your body should be able just to make new ones like they do when you're a child.
Yeah.
Why can't they?
I've never had a cavity.
Really?
Yeah, never had a cavity.
Surprising.
Yeah.
So we haven't lost Nathan Cleary, but I tell you, for someone that has had an impacted molar or a tooth infection before. Very, very unwell.
It sounds discomforting.
It's completely
How
up
do you
to-
eat?
Well,
Do you have
can't.
to make milkshakes out of everything?
No, you don't want to eat it at all. You're
Ugh.
on lots of antibiotics. And
I hate that. I love eating.
once I barely
It's one of my
recovered.
favourite pastimes.
Once I barely recovered from this tooth infection, Liam, I was told, it's in your head. It's very close to your brain. You could die.
Good Lord.
I know. Yeah,
That's
it's
a concern.
very turmoil.
And I feel like it may have impacted your brain, perhaps.
quite possibly.
He was a much smarter man before the molar took hold.
Oh, Jesus. I've got an IQ of 68.
More turmoil, Nagy Payne Haas.
Payne Haas.
Oh, now this is tumultuous turmoil.
Well, he has been cleared. It was earlier in the week, but to make it more of a drama, we have to burk it up. We've got Nico Hines waiting in the wings there to
Now-
possibly replace Nathan Cleary again. The Dally M winner. They're possibly to cover our halfback. It's
I've got a
pretty
bit
good
of a theory and a bit of an accusation of mind games. Now, you'll recall, Nagy, over the last, decade and a half, every single State of Origin series, without fail, someone in the Queensland camp ends up suspiciously close to death.
Yes, of
I think
course.
a couple of years ago, Moses Mbai even was locked up with tuberculosis or some,
Yeah.
long discarded disease.
Did he make Queensland Moses Mbai?
He did.
He
Yeah,
made-
and got tuberculosis. But I remember every year there was always these rumblings out of the Queensland camp of a grave illness or a season-ending injury
Yeah, of
that
course.
never came to pass, and it was a bit of the mind games.
You think?
And
Well-
given the switch in ideals this year from Queensland and New South Wales, maybe New South Wales are leaning into that.
Of course.
The old Queensland mind games trick.
Different afflictions coming to
Yeah.
to New South Wales, because I could have sworn that I saw Valentine Holmes earlier today, and I could have sworn he had scurvy.
Scurvy, did
Yeah,
he?
yeah.
Were you on a boat traveling to the East Indies?
I was around.
That's where you get scurvy.
That's where you get scurvy. You have to eat citrus, vitamin
Rum.
C.
Yeah, you put your vitamin C in your rum.
Is that how you do it?
Yes, yeah. That's
they-
how you get rid of scurvy.
And
Rum.
the British sailors had limes because they couldn't get lemons because all the lemons were grown in Spain.
And I think the limes didn't have enough vitamin C.
No, they had to have more of them.
Oh,
yeah.
they had to have more of them.
They had to
yeah.
have more of them, yeah.
Those damn
So-
Spaniards holding out on them.
And that's
with
who they
their
were fighting.
Lemons.
They were fighting in the ships. Back to New South Wales, Liam. We got the two players there.
Two turmoils.
Two turmoils. Who knows what will happen next? Someone put James Tedesco in a padded room so
Now-
nothing else can happen to him.
If Nico comes into halfback, in the case of Nathan Cleary's impacted molar, ruling him out of the game,
Yes.
who takes that bench role?
It's Matt Burton.
Oh, the Birds.
Matt Burton. Yeah. Which I don't mind because
I like that.
I like the Matt Burton boot.
If they use his boot, I seem to recall last year, maybe the year before, Matt Burton made the team. Great, biggest boot on earth. They let him kick one time.
Yeah, just
one
one.
single kick.
It's always
not
got in him.
enough.
It's like when you play those games and you have to like charge up the player and
Oh, yes.
you can only use it once. And if you use it at the wrong time, I'm sorry.
It was like in Wayne Gretzky 3D hockey on Nintendo 64. You had remember the Z button underneath?
Yep,
You had the Z shot.
The Z
It was
shot,
just a slap shot from the end of the ice. You'd always get an icing penalty, obviously.
of course.
But, it was what it was.
Ricky Potting's 05 or 07, and you had to you could if you got your bowler's confidence up, you could pretend like you're bowling like something more like a bouncer, and then it would shoot forward and to be a Yorker, and you'd try to trick the other player.
Yes, like we used to do. Remember, Nagy, when we were playing for the pigeons, the
cri-
cricketers'
the-
arms
the
pigeons.
cricketers' arms pigeons,
We were
yeah.
very good jousters at trick bowling. Because we didn't know what we were doing.
We're
So the
terrible
ball
bowlers.
didn't know what we were doing. And the batsmen, when we got them out, they'd look at us and say, "What did you just do?" And we'd say, "I don't know."
We said we don't know.
2 for 14 were my best figures. I think you had a 3 for one day.
3 for 25 on my birthday.
3 for 25 on your birthday.
You got to remember the good times.
Oh,
That's
you
all
have
I'm
to remember the
saying.
good times. But there's more turmoil, Nagy. The State of Origin Guernsey's
Yeah, we can't
debacle.
get away from it, Liam.
We can't.
Of course, they've gone out on a limb, New South Wales Rugby League, and they said we're going to pick a jersey that's a little bit different this year. It might be a bit similar to the one we had a few years ago, but it's not your traditional sky blue, which you're sporting today.
I liked the one a few years ago where they wore in Perth that was the dark blue with the light blue chevrons.
that's-
I didn't mind it.
And that's what they're going for this time round.
Looks like a t-shirt.
Well, they were planning on to, obviously, with their big Westpac label down the bottom there.
It's
which
just
is,
a bit too low, the Westpac.
and also, for keep
logo
this up,
there.
someone pointed this out to me. I think it was Sam Cupid has pointed out to me that there's another new Westpac up the top.
Oh my
of the
God,
New
double
South Wales.
Westpacs.
They put a little hat on the New South Wales Blues. Why did they do that? There's one.
Sponsorships are ruining sporting Guernseys.
Yeah. But they said, look, it's actually going to clash too much with the maroon jersey.
Now, do you think this is coming back to what we discussed in the news several months ago
Colour
about
blindness.
Colour blindness.
I think it is.
Oh,
I think it is.
interesting. Inclusivity for colourblind people is important.
Not everyone. I always thought this. The if they went back to the light blue, which they're trying to do, it looks suspiciously like I think a Waratahs jersey because the Westpac sort of looks like a Waratah flower that's not quite in bloom.
It does, doesn't it? Do you reckon they thought about that, Westpac, when they were making their logo? They said, we want to look like a Waratah because we're eventually going to sponsor a New South Wales sporting team.
I hope so. I hope that's what they all that.
Isn't a Waratah a good-looking flower?
It's okay.
It's a strong flower. It looks, it's built, well built. It's bulbous.
Structured.
It's very bulbous.
Yeah.
Speaking of bulbous,
Yeah.
someone bulbousy with a bulbous noggin right here had a lot to say about this jersey. I think we've got a bit of a message. I think did we get a call in earlier?
Of course, yeah. I'll just pick it up. It's outrageously stupid, boys. No one likes it.
I put a poll up on Twitter. I had to call Aaron Musk, I think his name is. I think he's the boss. I put up a Twitter poll. 7% of New South Wales citizens like the jersey.
Could you imagine Queensland changing maroon to pink, the same pink that's in my cheeks? It's
I've honestly imagined the Maroons changing to pink many times. It's hilarious.
Yeah, they'll do it eventually, and it'll upset
Yeah.
Buzz immensely, which I'm looking forward to.
In the losing years of Origin, I used to, make myself giggle through the pain just by thinking of the, Queensland running around in pink jerseys. But that was before all the women in league thing came along, and we learned that pink jerseys can actually be quite nice.
What was your favourite New South Wales Blues jersey? Everyone's got like a one they hang on to. Mine was the Wizard sponsorship, the white.
Oh, I
Wizard.
hated that blue.
You hated the blue?
Yeah, there was remember because it had that weird, like almost pastel-y, but not pastel-y blue with the dark blue shoulders.
No, it was
I
all
didn't
no,
like
it was
it.
no, it was like that, but it had Wizard down there. It was in a white box.
I like this one. The classic.
The classic.
It's a classic.
Is that the sponsor? The
No,
classic.
it's the manufacturer.
Oh, I see.
Classic Sportswear manufactured it.
Classic.
But it's just, simple.
Yeah.
It's got the shield.
Rustic.
It's rustic. It's authentic.
It's fresh, local.
Produce.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
good.
We can't never go back now. The sponsorships are going to be everywhere. It's all about sponsorship integration. I can see the Newcastle Knights, the very own Newcastle Knights, have finally moved away from the big green box and they've been the big green circle. For
It's
NIB.
more, an ellipse.
An ellipse.
A medium-sized green ellipse as opposed to a big green box.
Liam, we unfortunately, very fortunately, we're going away together. We're holidaying together. To the pub this week in our very own Orange. It's not quite
It's not our very own at all.
Well, we'll be our very own Orange when we're there. But if we were not there and we were trying to watch State of Origin and not in our cramped house in the cold, you want to go out.
Drafty.
You're drafty.
You don't want to be in your drafty, cramped,
no,
cold house.
No, you want to be amongst the people. The crowds.
The people that make this city so great.
The energy. You want to be around other Novocastrians that think like you do.
Where do Novocastrians that think like we do hang out?
The heart of Newcastle at the Hamilton Station Hotel.
What a great pub.
The only place to watch State of Origin not only this year, but ever.
For all of time. For the
$10
foreseeable future.
$10 jugs.
Amazing.
Two is new, two is old, as well as $1 wings.
Also amazing.
It's amazing that you will only experience this one time. You have to be it, possibly again for
Well,
game
hopefully 2 more times.
Hopefully 2
we'll
more times.
experience it 2 more times this year.
Game 1 will be the pinnacle of it all.
The litmus test.
To be around other New South Wales supporters. Cheering on our very New South Wales Blues Hamilton Station Hotel.
Which is the most noble thing a person can do.
Yeah.
It is the core of humanity.
Yeah.
Is watching State of Origin,
yeah.
at a pub supporting New South Wales.
It's a wonderful time.
It is.
And Liam, it's time for the news. The news this week is it's been a lot happening. Obviously, Origin.
So much happening.
Origin has really taken a whole lot of that news bulk.
Now, we got one apology last week about a certain trip that certain Knights players took, and we've now seen a backflip from another critic of the Knights Bali trip. What's Gus got to say for himself, Nate?
Well,
what's Gus doing, flipping and flopping and flimming and flamming?
He was so quick. He was so quick
to anger.
And he said, look, if the Knights want to go away on their bye week, they should find other jobs.
Get a new job.
And all of him himself, as the director of football, all his employees buggered off for the weekend, haven't they?
And how many of them are having to find a new job?
Probably none.
I'd say 0, because they've given him he's given them his blessing.
Yeah.
which is fine if you want to just, be handing out blessings willy-nilly all around the place.
Like the
But
Pope.
not if you're a rugby league administrator. The Pope, yes.
The Pope, yes.
Absolutely.
Bless
But
all you
Philip
like.
Ronald Gould, no. Don't just go throwing blessings about to your own people and not to other people who deserve blessings.
He's done a huge old backflip. It's the absolute core of hypocrisy. But maybe, just maybe, he saw
Libel.
our very own
Slander.
libel. Our very own Bradman Best over in Bali enjoying himself. I think we got a photo here of Bali of Bradman and Kuta Beach
Building a house.
with all these thumb appendages.
How
and
does he
thumb
hold
head.
the hammer?
Oh, it's very strong. The thumb's the strongest one of all the fingers.
Well, that's what separates us from the monkeys, the opposable thumb.
And he's got 5 of them.
Yeah.
And one of them's on his head. It's But he's gone there, and obviously it's worked. It worked for Bradman. He's playing a great game. And maybe Gus Gould, who's got the Bulldogs down very low on the ladder.
They're not very high up.
So maybe he's thought, look, guys, do exactly as Bradman has done.
Yeah, but he's been very coy about it. Now, this one, we were discussing this in the prelude recording. Jared Croker to play 300th game at home. They've rested him this week so that he can play his 300th game at Canberra Stadium, GIO Stadium, if you will, in front of the Gregan Larkham stand. And I think that is fantastic. He has been such a wonderful servant to Canberra.
Absolutely wonderful.
299 games worth of servitude.
Yeah.
And I think for him to get his 300th in front of the home fans, not only he deserves, but the home fans deserve. Because being a Canberra fan is not easy.
No.
Similar to being a Knights fan. Mired in mediocrity, except for the odd, jump into the stratosphere, but largely mediocrity.
Yeah.
And to have one of their favourite sons, a local junior,
course.
I do believe.
And look, being in Canberra for a day isn't easy. Let's be honest.
And for 300 days.
Yeah,
300 games.
300 games.
Each
So
of which is surrounded by 7 days.
at least he's been
And
in
then a
Canberra.
couple of months off season.
He's been in Canberra for at least 300 days that we know of.
150 of those are probably away games.
Yeah, I know. Well, I think
So at least
he
he has at least
rounded
been
up.
in Canberra for 150 days.
and it looks far too much. Far too much. But we got to give the Canberra people something. I think you can make a lot of criticisms about Jared Croker, but one of them wouldn't be that he's a bad guy. I think he's
great
a good
fella.
A good fella.
Good, honest fella.
Good,
Do you
honest
reckon they'll reward him with a gift basket full of fireworks and pornography from Fishwick?
Fishwick. It's a great it's a traditional Canberra gift.
It is, yeah.
That's all you have to do is to say
Fireworks, porn, kickbacks to major corporations. That's all you need.
300 games and your 18th birthday.
Yeah.
It's the 2 times that gift works. And look, and it just works. And who am I to say? It's stamp all over the cultural, traditions, milieu of the Canberra people. I say, look, I was a little bit against it. I thought, look, if he struggled so much to get to 300, why don't you just let him get there? If anything, you've left him out for him to have some sort of other catastrophic injury.
Yes.
In between now and then, all he has to do is put boots on and run out of Campbelltown, and that's his 300th game.
Yeah, it'll probably be a wanking injury or something.
A wanking because he's broken his wrist.
Just having a fiddle. Now, Nagy, this one, next item in the news, this has shaken the game of rugby league to its core. The entire institution of the officialdom of rugby league is now being called into question.
If you remember, a few years ago, there was we're going to shake up the whole the video referee. It's no longer the video referee; it's the bunker.
Yes,
it's going to cost $2 million, I believe. And they said, "Oh no, this is going to change the way the game's adjudicated."
One central facility.
It's in a fort, and no one knows where it is. It's 11 stories underground.
It's in Montana.
Guarded all around. You can't get in, you can't get out. And they said this is gonna change the way the game's adjudicated.
Which I never understood, because the video referee was the exact same thing.
Wasn't it?
It was a fella with a bunch of televisions. Now they just took the televisions, put them in one room, and said, "All right, it's now the same as the fellas with the television, but it's different somehow."
It's different somehow. Somehow it is different. But what's really changed it for me, Liam, is that the bunker has all these access to all these television, all these angles, all these replays. He can rock it and roll it and move it back and forth and freeze frame it. And then now, on 2 separate consecutive weeks, which makes them not so separate at all, the on-field referee has said, no, I disagree with you, and I'm going to overrule what you say. Now, Liam, why this rocks me to the core, why I'm in turmoil, is because you have players constantly going up to the referee, which we don't like. We don't like going up to them harassing and saying, "Didn't you see that?" And what the referee often says, boys, it's been reviewed. I cannot do a thing about it.
Now, this has thrown it into chaos because now they can do a thing about
They
it.
can, and they have done.
And it just introduced another layer of chaos.
Yeah.
Rugby league is already chaos.
It's
chaotic. Anything can happen at any point in time. And now you throw in this chaos.
The very bunker that I think we got a photo up there of the bunker. That's their one air hole that they get.
Ashley Klein's tucked away in there somewhere.
All they can do, they can take points off the board, right? You can score points and then they can take them off the board. So you got them, hooray, everyone's celebrating, you got your stats up, I've scored another try this week, and they've been removed. They get stripped from the record.
And they didn't remove the 7th tackle try that St. George scored last week.
They're still missing shit.
They're still missing it.
But
all of this money,
but of
all of this technology, and they still can't get it bloody right. What's going on?
Our very
ladies
own,
and gentlemen?
Newcastle Knights were playing a game, and there was a knock-on called from who was it? It was
Daniela Paseka.
Paseka.
Large man.
And our very own large man, Daniel Saifidi, played the ball on the foot, and they said that's a knock-on. And then it went up, and the Manly said, no, we're going to challenge that. So it went up, and the bunker reviewed it, and they said, no. It's not. Sorry, it is a knock-on. Challenge unsuccessful. And then the referee got in the ear and was, I think you need to look at that again. That's how he talks. And then they had a look at it again, and they said, no, actually, challenge successful. And if his opinion, which he was the first one to call knock on, by the way.
See, now I blinked and missed it. I thought I was just an idiot.
No.
I thought to myself, well, my brain's wronged me so many times before. It's just wronged me again, and here we are.
It was something that's happened. I thought last week when it happened to the Broncos, I thought, oh, well, that won't happen again. And now it's happened again. So are we going to see more of this? I thought the rules of the game were meant to be objective, but apparently they're subjective.
It was like we were talking about, I think, last week, Nagy. Rugby league wants objectivity in its rulings, but then they don't want objectivity. Objective, subjective, objective, and so on and so forth, vice versa, until the heat death of the earth.
Very, very easy to attack a referee and say the referee knows nothing, or they're out to get us. Or...
In fact, it's a national pastime.
I know.
Insulting officials at sporting events.
They're not doing themselves any favors by making these sorts of decisions.
But it's it's a response to what's been handed down to them from on high. Don't you tell me that Volandis isn't in the ear of the fella who runs the referees. Graham Annesley. You can't tell me.
No, yeah.
The Volandis and Annesley aren't having a little coffee every Monday morning and say, we want the game to look like this.
Footsie's under the
we
table.
We need to shape the game to be this certain way.
Scheming, planning, lying. All of those things, which comes from...
Bad things.
Comes from Racing New South Wales, of course. So,
what a greasy man Volandis is. I think, I'm just going to say it. I know when he got the game back from COVID, we all lauded him as the greatest administrator. Slippery Pete.
Slippery Pete, of course. Yeah. He does always look like he has a bit of...
for him.
He's got a bit of a glaze on him.
He's a sweaty man.
Sweaty
man.
Why? And who sweats? Liars and schemers and planners. We've got a whole lot to cover in the second half of the Joust. Obviously, that miraculous win against the Manly Seagulls, of course.
Gorgeous.
State of Origin. Please join us for the second half in one moment. Welcome back to the second half of the Joust. Now, Liam, it wouldn't be a week without you looking at some miscellaneous meat wrapped in pastry with some delicious gravy. What is your pie of the week, try of the week this week?
Pie of the week, try of the week. I've gone for something that's not overly flashy. Yeah. Something that was just great without looking outrageous, And this pie that you're going to see in front of you doesn't look like much to look at, but the core concept was very, very solid. It's from Wood Rising Bakery, a small bakery over near my home in Bolton Point, as you can see there on the screen.
You walk us through, I should say. What the hell is going on there?
Not much, Nagy. Let me tell you. As you mentioned, I love my malls that happen to have very low occupancy rates.
Very low.
At Wood Rising, they've got a post office that shut about a decade ago. There's a hair salon shut 5 years ago.
Of course.
There was, up until recently, an empty butcher shop that had been shut for a decade. So it was about 50% occupancy. They've recently reopened the butcher shop, which is nice. But the pie, Nagy, much like the Greg Margier try, was just good fundamentals without looking overly flashy. The meat, a nice medium grind, good rich gravy. And now it doesn't look like it there, Jousters, but that crust had a lot of flake to it.
It's flaky.
It was flaky, which I liked. So, I've gone for something that's not the flashiest. of things, but
Yeah.
something that was just great and very enjoyable. Another wonderful try by signing of the year, Greg Majeur.
It was just sort of what we needed. It was just sort of what you needed, Liam.
It's exactly what I needed, and it delivered in spades.
It was. That pastry looks like it's as smooth as a bathroom tile.
And that's how they get you, Nagy. You buy it and you think, oh, there's just a bathroom tile on top of a bit of meat.
Yeah.
And then you buy it in and you say, oh my goodness, was I ever wrong?
Over wrong. Oh.
Wonderful pie. Check yourself out at the Wood Rising Bakery there next time you're out near Bolton Point.
Did they charge you for sauce?
Of course, 50 cents, but in
50
this economy, that's, that's acceptable.
What's your going into a purchase of a pie? Let's say you have $10 in change.
Yes.
How much are you preparing to hand over? What's your expectation of a pie purchase with sauce?
These days, you're looking around $6, I think, to $6 to $6.50.
Yeah.
I think is very amenable.
I had one recently in Green Point in the Central Coast. It was actually quite good, but with sauce paid $7, and I was like, "That's on the upper echelon." But it did feel like a larger pie.
Would you spend that $7 on that again?
Possibly.
Okay. See, that's all that matters. If you will repeat purchase,
Yeah.
pay whatever you please.
Wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah, good. And nor should you. I like that you won't rule it out.
Liam, a lot happened on we got the telly game, the Sunday game, 4:00, and I always have
Big
this
crowd there too.
20,000 plus.
Yeah, couldn't afford a ticket myself. And if I did afford a ticket, I wouldn't have been able to afford a pie.
I always get a little bit concerned when we have the telly game that we've been put on show. And this was a game that we spoke up last week. And we said it's a game that we should win. Manly is very, without many of their big stars, Cherry Evans and all the Travojeviches, all 17 of them. And it was a game that we...
Except the one who's not involved in the NRL.
That one. No,
The very one Travojevic is not involved in the NRL.
He's an accountant. And we thought, oh yeah, of course, but there was a game that was just, exchanging the leads over and over again. But we managed to pull off a win, 28 points to 18, 6 tries to 3, which was a surprise when I saw the summary of scores.
It was a bit of a bludger of a game too, wasn't it?
A bludger. Yeah,
it was a pretty gross game. The opening 20 minutes, Nag, it was
shit.
It was bad.
It was bad. There was a period there with
knock-ons. There was penalties. I think you've got a lot to say about the penalties in the headwear section.
Oh yes,
but it just felt so stop-start.
There was a period there where our very own Kalen Ponga, I was expecting to go back and really come into his own at fullback, had a terrible 8 minutes.
Well, he's not used to the position. It's a new position,
a brand new position for him, of course, with the reverse lockout.
Yeah.
Going back to fullback, but he threw a cutout pass, and then he's also he tried to go for the short kickoff and the short dropout, I should say.
I don't know why the Knights persist with that. The only time it's worked was when we were down by 30 points against Parramatta. Yeah. What is the point?
Yeah.
What is the point of this short dropout that never works?
He made Schuster look like a really talented player. He gave the ball directly into Schuster's hands.
Now, I think he knew that how slow Josh Schuster was,
yeah.
Which I don't think any of us knew, but to see Josh Schuster get the ball and, I want to say streak away, but he didn't really streak away. He kind of lumbered
away.
He looked like, when a prop gets in space and...
Doesn't know what to do.
Panics. Doesn't know what to do.
But he's their 5'8".
Yeah.
It was
like he was running in pudding.
It seemed like a game, full of... we feel like we left tries out there. Obviously, Bradman Best got held up over the line, I think, on 2 occasions.
Many times.
Yeah.
It's a great try-saving defence from Manly.
But 3 intercepts, Liam. 3 of them, out of the Knights' hands. And we sort of, after the short pass we went, I know how to avoid intercepts again. We're going to throw longer passes.
Which also didn't work.
Also got intercepted by the opposition.
Maybe they should have just not thrown any passes at all when they've got a man who runs like a lizard skating across the top of the pond.
I don't know how he does it. He sort of skips.
Light on his feet.
Nimble.
It's
so quick.
It
was a game without its imperfections, Liam. One of those, of course, what I mentioned before, 6 tries gives us 6 opportunities at converting. We're probably happy with a 50-50 at this stage, but we didn't even get there 2 out of 6.
Now, I thought we'd solved the problem when we released Mark Tukey from his
kicking
coach role as kicking coach.
Yeah.
Maybe we caused more damage than we thought we might.
We may need to get him back.
I think we got to get Tukes on the phone, ladies and gentlemen. Bring back Mark Tukey. #.
We thought we had hit rock bottom a few weeks ago, but it seems like we've only gone down. We've gone through 3 kickers: Lockley Miller, Jackson Hastings, Caleb Ponga. None of them can kick over about 60%.
Bring back Ken Seo.
Can he kick offs?
Yes. Yes, he can.
Well, at least he did. I don't know. It feels like something. Can we remember the last time we've had a good conversion kicker.
I was talking about this with someone actually at work today, one of our regulars, and I think it might be Kurt Gidley. Was good.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, I think Kurt Gidley was out.
Trent Hodkinson.
Was he good though, or do we just remember him being? Because he was in charge of Lamb Shank in that game against Canterbury Bulldogs.
But he gave it to
he gave it to Brock
Lamb.
Lamb, who shanked it.
Shanked it.
Remember we were watching that at the Annie Dome.
Of course.
We had the kick and Brock Lamb lined it up, and we all stood outside. We were so nervous.
It was speaking of Lockie Miller, we had him on the bench the entire game. He never stood up.
He played none mins.
He was just warming the pine.
He was
with what do you call it? Warming the bed? We'll call it I don't know what
the
bench
bedpan.
is. The bedpan.
He was the bedpan. They put him on the pine.
He was warming the
Just let
pine.
him keep it warm.
He just didn't. There must be something demoralising if you've gone from a starting fullback to look. We're going to put you on the bench, and the game's tight. And you're itching to get out there, and you're watching the clock tick down, and you think, I'm not going to get out there this game. And you didn't even get like the last 3 minutes or something. Not even like
the token couple of minutes that usually that 14 gets.
And if you look, it was obviously only 16 players used, but we also had one interchange up the sleeve. So there was an opportunity to put him on the field, and they didn't use it.
Now, I think, Nagy, that he might have got a shot had the independent doctor been a bit more scrupulous on Kalen Ponga getting hit quite clearly in the head 2 times.
There was
2 times I thought he could have gone off for a HIA, Nagy.
Part of that
didn't.
Part of that game, Kalen Ponga's worked in something else into his game, is when any sort of knock he cops, he sticks his thumb up directly in the air and says, I'm all right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm okay, which I appreciate.
It's good to know that he's okay.
I appreciate to let everyone know, because everyone's thinking the same thing, going, oh, that looked like it hurt.
Yeah.
But he's got his thumb directly in the air, and he says, I'm all right. But that's going to his arm's going to get tired. The amount of times he's going to have to keep his thumb up in the air to say that he's okay.
He's going to develop a really strong rotator cuff, constantly upping and downing.
Constantly
upping and downing. But yeah, I thought he was lucky not to get HIA'd 2 times.
2 times.
When do we look at medically retiring Kalen Ponga from rugby league entirely? Because it's coming. It's coming.
He's got at least 3 weeks left, I think, at least. Potentially.
Better be 3 good weeks.
Potentially. But also, if he wasn't good, do you think he would show everyone thumbs down?
I think he would just have the corpsing response.
So he just puts his hands out.
So when you hit the ground and you're knocked out and your arms go like that.
Oh, when they all go stiff.
That happened. I remember once Paul Doherty from the Wanderers. My dad was acting as trainer once. He got knocked out there at Dangar Park, and Dad went over. He goes, Paul, do you know where you are? And Paul just looked at me and goes, football. And Dad was like, yep, you're all good, Paul. Get up and keep playing.
That was the time.
He said, yeah, those were the days.
And
And then, of course, he joined us on the piss later on, did Paul, and I think he's an accountant too, actually. Yeah. Don't trust him with your money.
It's great, Ad. Reliable. There's Liam, there's been players that really stood out for us, and our hats off for this week. And you better take away the first hats off, Liam.
Got to be Greg. Signing of the year across the whole NRL, Greg Marjeur.
He's up there.
3 tries, several running meters. I haven't counted them, but I imagine there was quite a few.
190, I think.
190, isn't that something? I believe all the Knights back 5 ran for 130 plus, excepting one player who I don't recall.
That's all right.
But Greg Marjeur, he's just been quite remarkable this season. What a great trade we got. And Chris Randall heading off to the Titans, obviously.
Yeah.
Greg Marjeur coming down the Gold Coast of New South Wales.
A classic hooker-winger swap.
Yeah.
It's a very classic move.
Yeah.
And but we seem to they're getting good. Randall's getting good minutes over there. Good on him.
Yeah.
Potentially we could have used a hooker, but Phoenix.
But we got Phoenix.
We got Phoenix.
Again,
Phoenix is going well.
Start of the year, Knights fans would have told you there's 1.5 million players in the NRL better than Phoenix Crossland. I think we're discovering that is not the fact.
Not the case.
Not the case, rather.
Whatsoever.
Yeah. But Nagy, who have you got for your headwear this week?
Look, as a player that probably could have the game of his life, he was just short of that, but I thought he's been very, very good the last few weeks, and he really stood up this game. I've loved the thumb, Bradman Best.
Powerful running.
He's changed his game. He seems like he's got 2 types now. He used to be like always looking for contact. Now he's looking for sort of gaps. And I think that if he keeps doing that, Bradman, he could go a long way.
And I think what we saw from Bradman on the weekend as well that I've always loved doing, he has a really good catch and pass.
Yeah.
He's great at catching, not even resetting, not reloading the ball, receiving, shifting it onto the left. He's very good at that. And I think Greg is going to be the beneficiary.
Those 2 stocky gentlemen are hopefully going to win us many
stocky left edge. I hadn't considered that until now. So you mentioned it. It's a stocky left edge.
Stout, isn't it?
Men built like barrels.
You just can't. I don't know how they like. If you're coming up against them, you're like, good lord, there's barely a foot off the ground between them,
And they've not necks.
No.
Neither of them have necks.
Neither of them. But Liam, when we take our hats off, we must.
Hats back on.
When we take our hat off, we have to return it. No, I don't even know this referee's name.
Peter Goff.
Peter Goff. Peter Goff. And look, I have touched on it already. Obviously, the reversing of the decision that went against us, and
Unprofessional.
But the thing that annoyed me the most about Liam was the over-adjudicating of the game. We had 17 penalties in this game. Now, this reminds me of games of yesteryear, before the six agains. He couldn't get the whistle out of his mouth. He loved it.
Again, I think Volandis and Annesley, they were having their little latte on Monday morning.
They said,
crack the whistle out, boys. Let's get the whistle coming back.
Back in.
Bring back the whistle. Now, Origin coming up.
It is.
Whistles.
Sure, put them away.
Put them away.
Take the pee out.
Take the pee out. Put the whistle away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could just make it a faulty whistle so the game just keeps going.
Or a dog whistle. So no one would hear it, because a dog whistle, as jousters would all know, are at a frequency set so high that the human ear cannot receive its noise.
Can we have a look?
I just lost the sentence halfway through there, Jousters.
Can we have a look at this bonkers table just for a moment? Now, we have it up on the screen. Now, the Knights are in it, even though we're sitting 12th, and this looks like a position we don't want to be in, but with 13 points, we got the bye, moves up to 15 points. Will get us in and around the 8.
In that log jam.
But we've got
classic 7th to 12th log jam.
Five wins and a draw, and the top of the table, which you might not be able to see there, I believe has 7 wins. 7 wins to Penrith and 2 byes.
It's such a closely contested competition this year, Nagy.
We're scratching at the
I
heels.
think the first 5 teams are all on the same amount of points, I believe.
Well, even that from 12 points to 16 points is the difference between 5th and 14th.
Yeah.
I've not seen another competition like it. Maybe outside
I was going to say, many years ago, I recall it happening where
2019 was
19. That was it. Yeah, where it was a log jam everywhere. There was several log jams,
and that's what makes all these wins all the more important, because you got to win the winnable games. If you throw a game away and you think, we could have won that, but we left, we didn't make it.
We left the 2 points out on the field. You can't be doing that.
Liam, is a log jam an expression from Canada?
It is. Now, I actually, one of the most beautiful things that I love seeing anytime I fly into Vancouver, as you fly in, you look down over the mighty Fraser River, and at the end of the mighty Fraser River, there's the log processing area. So what they do is they put the logs in the river.
Yes.
It's a good way of, saving money on transportation. You just
they're
cut the
moving
log,
them.
you
Yeah.
just dump it in the river, and it works its way down the river.
Yeah.
And there's an old Canadian song that I really wish I'd mentioned to Sam if we could bring up. It's called The Log Roller's Waltz.
Put the logs on the river. Is that basically what
That's essentially it. It's just that ad nauseum. But yeah, I think it's called The Log Roller's Waltz. It's a beautiful, beautiful song. The Log Driver's Waltz. And it's a really important part of Canadiana. When I fly into Vancouver, I look down and I see those logs in the river, and I feel so proud.
We'll close out the show with the log driver's waltz, so stick around for that.
It really is
as
quite
a
something.
little treat.
There you go. That's the log driver himself that you're seeing up there on the screen now.
We're full.
One of Canada's greatest touchstones of entertainment.
Can't wait. It's just like a full variety show that we do now.
Yeah.
My schedule has just left my telephone while I get that back up.
We've got the Marcus.
The Marcus bye.
We've got the Marcus coming up. So where do you think the boys go on holiday this bye round, Nagy?
Straight back to Bali. I don't think anyone, if you see the Knights players getting around doing anything whatsoever, look like they're enjoying themselves, just let them.
Let it happen.
They're coming off a win, and it seemed to work last time.
Also, text message Phil Gould if you've got his number and say, the boys are having a week holiday.
Yeah.
Where are your Bulldogs boys doing? Are they having a week off? Yeah, they are.
They're finding other jobs, Gus. He'll probably leave the Bulldogs soon anyway. It's about time that he moves off to another club. I think if we look at the sack, I think that's what we got. Do we have anything in the sack this week? It was a pretty empty sack with a short turnaround between.
It was a short turnaround empty sack due to our earlier evening of recording. So we'll start with Chris Kattan, of course, famously from
Saturday Night Live.
I was going to say the disco movie.
The night of the Roxbury.
No, the Roxbury.
Yeah.
Yeah. That Chris Kattan.
Same one.
It's great to see that Chris Kattan's still out and about and listening to Newcastle Knights podcast. Chris Kattan asks, however, is Ponga as good as Channel 9 commentators make him out to be?
Probably not.
I don't think so. I really don't think so. They certainly do love him.
Yeah, we love him.
We do too, don't get me
yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
They certainly do think he's fantastic. We do too, don't get me wrong. But I think the Channel 9 hyperbole around Kalen Ponga might be a bit overblown.
Yeah. I don't know if I want him to be worse than he is. So everyone just leaves him alone, and then we can just play out his life as an exceptional footballer quietly in Newcastle, winning games for us.
Which used to be the way. You
Yeah.
know, the media didn't care about Newcastle or Newcastle players.
No,
It wasn't until Kalen Ponga that that the media decided, oh, there's a good player there. We should talk about him all the time.
It was better in 2018 when no one really expected anything from him. Everything he did was amazing, but then Billy Slater was still playing for Queensland. So it was like, well, he's not going to unseat him.
Isn't that amazing to think that Billy Slater and Kalen Ponga's careers crossed over?
Oh, yeah.
That's
it
incredible.
did, yeah. There was that classic time where Kalen broke the line and then tried to beat Billy on the outside, but got tackled. And it was a bit
I
of the,
remember that.
It was a bit of the old dog catching the young pup.
Yes, I was
yeah.
thinking old bull
The old bull, yeah.
catching the young pup.
Fuck you, Billy.
A bull and a pup, that would be an unfair matchup.
Oh, yeah. It was
A bull and a puppy.
Well, Callum Ponga he was only 18 years old.
Hey, he was a bub. Joel Southgate, next question. Joel asks, should we keep Ponga at fullback and Miller to 14, and should we leave Hastings and Gambles our halves for the rest of the season? Up the Knights. Miller, don't know. I mean, if he got none mins at 14 on the weekend,
0 min.
how does Adam O'Brien, think to use him? We've got Kurt Mann back. We saw him in the 22 jersey over the weekend. I just don't know where Mr. Nunmin's Lockie gets used.
I like Lockie Miller, but I also like Tyson Gamble at 6. And I
Got to
think
keep
Tyson,
Gamble and Hastings. Has to stay as the combo. They're fantastic together.
I don't think there's room on the bench to keep him at 14, but unless we're just waiting for Kalen Ponga's, HIA to fail and then we've got someone ready to go. But what I probably want to see is a pretty good game from Lockie Miller at fullback in New South Wales Cup.
Yes, which will be hard because the New South Wales Cup team is not doing well.
I say that again, but I just don't think he fits in the team with Kalen Ponga.
Yeah, which is such a shame.
It's a shame.
Such a shame. We've got him for 3 years.
But I don't think it's...
Thrice years.
I don't think other teams think about this, Liam. I think other teams think we've got our best team available. We're playing them. Sorry, but we have this real emotional connection with all the players.
Yeah.
We want them all to stick around.
It's our burden. It's our cross to bear. We love our boys.
We love
We
our
hate
boys.
to see them going elsewhere. Matt Frost. Now, I'm sensing a bit of a theme with Frosty's questions over the season so far. Most of them have been involving food and beverage, which I like. As a fan of food and beverage, and I know you're also a fan of food and beverage. Matt asks that, he states initially that he's been informed that staff at McDonald Jones aren't supposed to show allegiances to any teams while working.
Yeah.
Don't you think all staff should be wearing a Knights cap and say "Go the Knights" every time they crack a 4X can for spectators?
Love it, adore it, bow down to it. I think.
Agreed,
Yeah,
Nagy.
yeah.
All those words, I agree wholeheartedly.
If you-
Matt, I had not even really considered that as an option.
Surely it's
We'll
one
be,
of those
we'll
things.
be penning a letter to
Yeah.
Phil.
Yeah.
We'll say, Phil, get your bar staff in red and blue, buddy boy.
Surely it's one of those things that used to happen. Like, it sounds like, I remember back in 96 and then all the staff were wearing red and blue. Why not? It's the place to do it.
It is.
The game's being played.
They probably get a discount on it as well.
They're all there. The merch tent or the stores just fill it out.
I would like to take it a step further and say maybe at the bar there should be a separate line
Yeah.
for non-Knights fans.
Yes.
And they just don't get served at all.
You just keep them waiting.
You just keep them waiting.
Someone keeps popping out and says, "Oh, won't be a
We'll be
second.
with you. We'll be with you.
Won't be a second." And then
One moment.
You
One
let
moment.
them wait.
Let them stew.
And then they go back
in
to-
their own filth. Let them foment insurrection from the back of the line because that's where they belong. Back of the line.
Get out of here.
Non-Knights fans, get out of here.
Back up the F3.
They only get served Iron Jack.
Give them the forks. Fuck off. What's your prediction for State of Origin, Liam? I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair. Game ones typically are, but we've moved in this faster game. Who knows what's going to happen?
New South Wales 20 points to 14.
I think it's going to be 12 points to 10. Also to New South Wales.
Grind.
And also,
real grind.
Yeah, real edgy as seat sort of stuff.
What's the over-under on sin bins? I'm going to go 3 sin bins.
I think there will be a sin bin each. I think they can't sin bin one side without sin bin the other without having that whole...
A square up.
Yeah, square up sin bin.
Okay, yeah.
Might not happen straight away, but then something will happen and the player will be sin binned. And whether it's the same incident or a separate incident, they'll be like, and you know what, you can go as well.
Dane Gagai's not there to throw gloves at Matt Burton, which is a shame.
Who would it be? Crichton, maybe?
No,
he
it's
would
going to be
go.
Tavita Pangai Jr. We all know that.
Yeah, who's he going to kill?
I was going to say he's paying $1.01, but you'd somehow lose money.
Oh, Flegler.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, do we want to see a good
Flegler.
and TPJ?
I feel like Ruben Cotter, he's got a bit of mongrel
Does
about
have a
him.
mongrel about
He's got a
him.
bit of dog in his fight.
Maybe Hudson Young. I think,
Yeah.
he could get a bit far.
There's some very good sin bin options going in this game.
Yeah, hopefully they just throw them.
Lindsay Collins.
Lindsay Collins. If you like us, Joust,
He's a
please,
mug.
please like us on YouTube, SoundCloud. I nearly said Snapchat again. Instagram. I don't have Instagram. You see, I don't have it. I got hacked recently.
Oh, yeah. What happened? How did that happen?
No, it's just I received a strange message from someone who I am friends with, but sent me a strange message, and then I received a text message on my phone, and they were talking about. They're like, "Just send me that code." I was like, "Well, clearly this is not the person that I believe I'm talking
Yeah.
to." So I just deleted and thinking, but I was like, they've cracked me."
But what does this achieve?
Well,
Did they steal any money? Did they get access to your mortgage? What does hacking a Facebook page actually achieve?
Well, I think they can use it to leapfrog onto other things. So, but I still believe the Instagram account that I had is still hacked. So please don't answer anything and I believe they've even changed the profile picture to some sort of jousty thing. So just ignore me. Ignore me on Instagram. I don't use it. It's not me. I to the point of which I don't even know how to log in to delete my account. YouTube, SoundCloud, all those social pipes. Go the Blues. We'll hope to see you next week. We've got the bye, but we'll have all New South Wales winning talk to do.
Lots of winning talk.
And check out our photos from Orange, which I'm sure we'll post plenty of. See you, Justice. We'll catch you next week. Bye-bye.